Hey, this is Ed with Team Aquascape over in Arlington Heights, Illinois, having a few technical issues here. My first time going live, and for some reason my phone didn't want to connect with everything, but hey, I got it up and running. I am out at a spectacular project. I mean, just check this thing out. Did last year, and what I want to talk to you today about is a little bit of the challenges that we had during construction as well as the maintenance. But let's start out with the overall view here. Completely redone patio area. This is all a beautiful Techo block system. The fun part is right here. This is a rainwater capture system. So below that bubbling rock right there is a 1,500 gallon rainwater capture system on top of permeable pavement. This is all feeding this beautiful, spectacular property. Why don't we take a walk down this way to check out what this water feature is all about. So right over here to my left is the biofalls filter. This is the start of the waterfall. Take a closer look at that. Something just kind of gentle. You can see our water quality that we have down here in the bottom. Nice, clean, clear pond. Then we have this beautiful connecting stream that goes all the way down into our recreational pond at the bottom. Over 200 tons of stone were used on this project. What we tried to do was kind of keep an open area. You can still see they have to do a little bit of turf grass here, but this was just done last fall. What we tried to do was keep everything hugging the perimeter of the property, and that was really simple concept because they do a lot of entertaining here. So we wanted to make sure that all of this green space was still available. They also have a large dog. We wanted to make sure that that was still available for outdoor entertaining, for the kids, for the dog to run around. Everything else though, spectacular. We have this water feature that twists and turns its way all the way along the property. We even put in this nice little fire pit area that's tucked in over on the corner. This allows a completely different vantage point for the entire water feature, tucked in between all these beautiful pine trees. The water gets deeper and deeper as we start going down this way. One of the other things that I want to mention here that you probably can't see, which actually is a good thing, is underneath that little fire pit area, underneath that seating area that's over on the other side here, we have a bunch of seating rocks and things like that, is actually our wetland filtration system. So we have a monstrous 20 foot by 30 foot wetland filtration system that's underneath that, which is actually the point that I want to make here today, is talking about the filtration. But let's continue going through our quick little tour here before we get into that maintenance. All right, you can see our water quality. We have been having a lot of rain over here. That rain, we actually had 1.5 to 2 inches of rain yesterday, which actually causes a little bit of water quality issues, and that's because this pond, if you look around around here, this pond was actually designed as part of a rainwater stormwater management system. So what we're doing is we're capturing all the rainwater that falls on this property. We're putting it into our ponds. Way over here, where is it at? Back over in this corner over here is a 3,000 gallon rainwater capture system, and then if you remember that bubbling rock up on top, that's also part of the rainwater capture. But traditionally, every spring this property would flood. Not only this property, but all those properties in and around this this property, and they would get 6, 8, 12 inches of standing water on these properties, and it's just because it's an old neighborhood. So this old neighborhood, they didn't have drainage systems back then. Water would just kind of accumulate in this area, and it was like a swamp back here. So what we did was we took all of that stuff into consideration. We wanted to think exactly about the watershed. We wanted to see how we were going to be able to manipulate all of that water, be able to capture it, be able to reuse it for our decorative water feature. So the good thing about that is we have a free source of water. Bad thing about that is rainwater, especially storm water, actually has dissolved nutrients in the water. So you're going to get nitrate that builds up in the water, and that's going to come from actually way up there. So you look, it's a nice cloudy day out there, but that's going to come in the form of nitric acid, nitrous oxide, nitrates, and things like that. And that's because of the electrical activity that happens up in the atmosphere during storm events. So when that lightning comes crashing through, it actually creates nitrous oxide in the atmosphere because we're actually breathing nitrogen. That nitrous oxide dissolves in the rainwater, which actually becomes a nitrate. Nitrate is food, and that's food for plants. So that food for plants actually is going to create algae. So, and that's actually the whole point of all of this stuff, is talking about how do we maintain these things. So if you look down here in the water, you're gonna see some fuzzy green stuff. Let me get you in a little bit closer here. You're also gonna see little microorganisms living on all of that stuff. So the microorganisms are good. They don't have any fish in this pond, at least not yet. Fish will help, and that's because the fish are herbivores. They're gonna be able to graze, they're gonna eat all of that stuff, as well as all those other microorganisms in there. So what we want to try to do is come up with a strategy to manage all of that food source in the water. One of them is right behind me over here, that waterfall. That's going to increase dissolved oxygen in the pond. That's important because the compounds that are necessary for algae to grow are CO2, so carbon dioxide, nutrients, and that's going to come from that rainwater, and then sunlight. So what we want to do is we want to intercept that stuff. We want to highly oxygenate the water. That's going to help drive off the carbon dioxide. So if you take carbon dioxide out of the equation, again, remember basic ecology class when you talk about photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide, what we're exhaling, is actually a food source for our plants. They are going to use that, and they're going to create oxygen from that carbon dioxide. So what we're doing is we're hyper-oxygenating the water. We have all types of waterfalls. We have little bubbling rocks over here. We have all types of jets and things like that, which are going to increase the overall circulation. The other thing, as I said, was that big wetland filtration system that's back behind me. So what we want to do to help start that biological filter out is we want to add beneficial bacteria and enzymes. So what we have here is this stuff. So we have beneficial bacteria, we have wetland and pond, lake management stuff. Each one of these actually has a dosage on them. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up this little container. This pond is estimated to have 25,000 gallons of water in it. So it's a pretty significant pond system. So I'm pouring our stuff in, spilling it all over the place. The nice thing about this type of stuff is you can't overdo it. This is all living enzymes. So here's our stuff. I got it marked out in here as 25,000 gallons. Now I want to take this material, this liquid bacteria, microorganisms and everything, and I'm going to dump it directly into our pond. So as you can see, I'm putting it in right here by our waterfall. This system has kind of a unique design because all of the pumps are located down inside of that reservoir. So what we're doing is I'm adding the bacteria and enzymes into the water stream. It's going to get sucked into those pumps, and then from there the water is going to get discharged into the various areas in and around the pond. It's going to go through our waterfall, it's going to go through our bubbling rocks, it's going to go through, most importantly, that wetland filtration system, which is located way over there in that back section. So by adding in our beneficial bacteria and enzymes, we're going to be able to manage the water. We're going to put little living microorganisms in there, which are going to feed off of the nutrients. Now with a pond like this, it's never going to be like an actual swimming pool. You are going to have some of that green stuff on the rocks, but that's okay. That's actually part of it. It's an important compound. That's actually part of the ecosystem. But what we don't want to have happen is that stuff to take over. We don't want it to get out of control. We want to manage it. We want to hold on to that stuff. We just want it to be shorter. We want it to keep in a good-looking situation. So by adding in the beneficial bacteria and enzymes, adding a few large fish in here that will actually graze on all those different compounds that are inside of there, that's going to help keep this system clean. Having a pumping and recirculating system is also an important piece because that's delivering the dissolved oxygen where we need it, and that's creating the circulation that we need to keep all those sediments down. I could talk about this pond literally all day long. There is tons and tons of stuff that's happening here, and what you're seeing is actually the finished product. I would love to go through step by step and show you exactly how each one of these things was built so you can get a better idea how this was constructed, but that's going to be for a different day. Today, springtime, this is up and running. It's looking phenomenal. I can't wait to see what this thing looks like later on this year, because the plant material is going to continue to grow and get more mature, and with any type of landscape system, this is going to get better and better with time. So until the next time, I hope you enjoy this little lesson on how to maintain and take care of a recreational pond. This project is unbelievable. The property is incredible. It's going to get better and better over time, and I hope you tune in next time so you can see one of our next projects, and the next one actually is going to be construction based. So until then, have a great day. We'll see you soon. Now if I could figure out how to turn this thing off.